Hello guys, welcome to another episode of MTG Steam Brewery. We are finally bringing you the Junk Constellation deck, but we are only doing a deck tech over it, as there's actually been a lot of talk about this deck since I said I was going to do it. A lot of people have actually put up lists, so I don't really think we need to play it. Plenty of people have already shown the deck, so there's no real need for us to show it to you, because you've probably already seen it by now. If not, you can probably go look it up. Just tweet at Brian Brondune. He played it at the SCG weekend. He can tell you about it. So, we're going to go ahead and get into the deck tech now. I'm going to start off with one Elspeth. Though it is not a Constellation card, it's probably the best white card in mono white card in Standard. Dominated the Pro Tours, been dominating Standard for a while. Maybe not in the Jund Monsters decks, but it's pretty good against the Jund Monsters decks. This card's just good against pretty much every deck in the format. So we definitely wanted to have one in our main deck, and there's another one in the board, as you'll see. So that's why Elspeth in here. It's just a powerhouse. We have two Johnny. Also does not have the Constellation theme, but it does allow us to draw a ton of extra cards or make cards bigger. Both of those +1s are relevant, and sometimes you can gain 100 life. You probably won't gain 100 life, but you could gain 100 life. It's a possibility. One Doomwink Giant.
You missed an important part. A Johnny can grab Underworld next.
Oh yes, I was going to explain that later.
Okay.
Doomwink Giant, though he won't be too impactful when he comes down other than being a 4/6 for 5, after you untap you can normally start killing lots of things just by playing a ton of enchantments. 1 or 2 enchantments the following turn, and you get to kill a bunch of creatures. So that's why he's in here.
Oh, right.
2 Fate Unraveler, because this deck's built to be really grindy, and this can kill players as the game goes on, as they draw cards. It kind of counteracts one half of Sphinx's Revelation, not the half you want it to beat, but you still have to beat one of the 2 halves. 4 Eidolon Blossoms, because it's easily the best Constellation card to be playing in a non-aggressive Constellation deck, which I'm not sure if there is one. You definitely want to have 4 of these, as it's probably the main reason to even bother playing green in a Constellation deck. So we just jam 4 in here, because it's the correct move. We have 2 Freaka, another way to activate Constellation triggers, as she'll make snakes. Her Devotion can come active against a lot of the non-blue-white or Esper decks. Her becoming alive is a very relative possibility. Same with Athreos. And what is her other ability?
Use Death Touch?
Yeah, just make snakes. It's very relevant, being able to grind out card advantage, get the snake away. And I got bit by a snake. So I won't be here for the next episode, but hey, I'll finish this one. We have 1 Athreos, a very solid card. It also allows us to buy back Constellation triggers or Lightning Balls our opponent, which is going to be very good. And like I said, his Devotion can be relevant at times. This being able to attack with a 5/4 repeatedly and not have to care is very good. Same with attacking with 5/5. As well as he also just grinds out advantage, as a lot of our deck does. We have 4 Boon Satyr as a cheap, aggressive Constellation enabler. Something we can play at the end step if we control opponents to start pressuring them. As well as we can bestow it on our smaller creatures and make them threats, as well as still get Constellation triggers. And if we bestow it, we can get 2 Constellation triggers if we keep our Constellation guys around when they die.
And what's not very relevant is that Johnny's Plus can grab either half.
Yes. No, actually it can't, because it's not an enchantment in your deck. I mean, it's not an aura in your deck. We have 2 Course Crucifix, one of the other best green enchantments in Standard. Probably much better than Idle Blossom just because it goes in more decks, or more versatile, as well as he also gains life and is a 3-mana 2/4. So of course we're going to play some of those. So that's why that's in here. We have 4 Grim Guardian, one of the better Constellation cards for this particular deck. As I said, I built it around the Constellation theme. This is a lot more heavily Constellation themed than a lot of the other decks. So Grim Guardian's in here because it allows us to kill our opponents and can kill them very quickly. Dealing 2 to 3 damage a turn is going to end the game quickly if they don't find a way to kill it. And if they Detention Sphere a 1/4, you're pretty happy.
And X4s are so gay.
Underworld Coinsmith can also end a game quickly as the game goes on. It allows you to gain life against aggressive decks. That can be a big thing as you just build up your board. Against a lot of decks, just being able to spend 2 mana and drain both of you is going to kill them a lot faster than it's going to kill you. Because there's a lot of incidental life gain in this with Courser Prefix and Underworld Coinsmith. So that is very relevant. We also have 4 Brain Maggot, another one of the better cards to be playing in Constellation deck because it's an enchantment. It's kind of like a Thoughtseize that dies, so it's like a Tidehollow Scholar is what it's mostly compared to. Since it's late game, it's just going to be 2 mana.
It is Tidehollow.
No.
Yeah,
It's 2 mana. If you have Idle Boston, will be 2 mana, draw a card, get a 1/1 because sometimes they won't have a hand. Grim Guardian, they lose a life. 2 mana, they lose a life. If you have a bunch of Constellation cards to play, it's going to do a bunch of things. It's also just really good as a cheap card. So that's why we're doing 4 here. With 2 Banishing Light as one of our removal spells, as it also enables Constellation, but it also gets killed by a lot of things right now. Other Banishing Lights, 10 Spheres, Abrupt Decays, Golgari Charms. Lots of things just kill Banishing Light right now, so we didn't want to play too many, because if we kill something and then they destroy the Banishing Light, then we're in the same position. But we definitely wanted to. We also have 2 Underworld Connections, as co-host number 2 said. We can grab them with a Johnny's, which is very relevant, as well as they're another enchantment to enable our Constellations, and it allows us to grind out advantage. So it does a lot of the things that our deck's already doing. And then the rest of our cards are removal in the form of 2 Heroes Downfall, because we just needed removal that is actual removal outside of Vanishing Light to deal with things permanently. And it can hit Planeswalkers like opposing Elspeths, which is relevant. We also have our mana base, 1 basic forest, and 2 mana confluences are our only lands that will come and untap without paying life. We can't really afford to play too many basics, as we need green, black, white, and then, yeah, double black. Like, we need double of every color, which is very hard to do off of playing a bunch of basics. But we do have 8 temples to help filter our draws and fix our mana as the game goes on, as well as 2 mana confluence to act as our City of Brasses. So there's our main deck, and we'll see you in a second for our sideboard. Hey guys, welcome back for our sideboard. We're going to get right into it. We have 1 Elspeth, like I said, just good against pretty much everything in the format, but for the aggressive decks, I didn't really want to have 2 in my main deck, because I really want to be able to win some other way. Elspeth being at 6 mana can come down a little late, with the rest of my deck also being kind of slow. We couldn't really play too many 6-drops in our main deck, so we did have to sideboard 1, but it is good against definitely the control and mid-range deck, so we will bring it against them every time. Also, 1 Obs It Out and Reaper of the Wilds, kind of for the control decks. Relying on the Constellation can sometimes be good, but with the control decks playing Supreme Verdicts, Faded Retributions, and then their spot removal, it can be really hard to win with the powerful synergies of our deck, because they get disrupted by all of those cards. So we do need some other ways to win. Obs It Out is going to be a very good way to win against a lot of those decks. Another control card is Sin Collector. Definitely good. Coming down and being able to attack for 2. Trading with Mutavaults if they block early. But mainly stripping a card out of their hands is going to be very relevant. We also have 2 Scavenging Ooze, also kind of coming against control decks and aggressive decks. Against aggressive decks, gaining life and getting bigger is going to be very relevant in both halves. Against the control decks, just to be that it gets bigger after Supreme Verdict, so it's going to be very good. For the aggressive decks, we have 4 Next Fleece Ram, kind of facilitate the Constellation theme. Having 2 mana 0/5 that gains life is going to be very good against all the aggressive decks, so that's why that's in there. 3 Thoughtseize, once again, kind of just for the control and mid-range matchups. Being able to disrupt their hand for any card in their hand but lands for 1 mana is going to be very relevant, as it's been proven to in Standard since it was reprinted in the course in Theros. It's been impacting Standard ever since. And then we finish up with 2 2-drop removals and Doomblade and Bile Blight. Both just very good, cheap, efficient removal spells. So there's our sideboard. I'm sorry we're not doing a versus video for this. I'm sorry if I sound funny. I have dry socket after my wisdom tooth surgery. It's kind of painful. It hurts a lot to talk right now. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up because it hurts a lot. So follow us on Twitter. We at Pure Souls Blog. Don't be afraid to tweet anything at us. We will respond at some point. Email us, puresoulsblog@yahoo.com. Read my articles on mtgbrodeals.com. And most importantly of all, subscribe. And enjoy the rest of our videos. Make fun of us for having terrible commentary, and funny voices, and terrible gameplay, and terrible decks. Until next time, have a great day.